Welcome to Social Problems, Sociology 300, online distance education course. This is our introductory video with me, your professor, Dr. Cowart. That's me as an insufferable teenager. I looked like that then, and I pretty much have that same expression on my face right now. Different haircut, thank God. All right, what are we doing in this video besides showing you embarrassing photos from my childhood? In this one, we're going to think a little bit about what is sociology and what the sociological imagination is, and why we want to study social problems, working through a couple examples briefly, before we get into some of the practical stuff about how to do this course and how to succeed in it. So when you think of the word social, we often think of socializing, going to events, things we can't do in a pandemic but might be trying to do now if we're vaccinated. Um, when we talk about social problems, we're really talking about problems of society. And part of what we're doing here is we're trying to build up our sociological imagination and think through individual problems in a social context, meaning in a societal context. Unlike psychology, which tends to root problems within the individual's mind, why did you make particular choices, for example? Sociology, we try to make connections between individual troubles, as C. Wright Mills put it, something within the character of the individual, and public issues, things that involve history and forces beyond and outside the individual. So this is the thing we're going to be trying to do throughout this class. We're going to get away from blaming people, for example, for their eating habits or for their personal weight issues, and look more broadly at how society looks at beauty and how do we construct what a healthy body is, for example. So one example, maybe a traffic ticket stack up for a young lower income person. Often we would say, well, go pay your tickets, be more responsible. What's wrong with you? Right? How might this reflect some personal troubles? How might it reflect social issues? Maybe the individual can't pay. Maybe they get pulled over more. We know that police pull over young men of color at a much higher rate than white folks, and that they ticket them more. So we can connect this to societal issues as well. Why are police forces targeting younger men of color more? Right? What makes it social? Why does Mills talk about historical society? Well, we look at the root of these police forces, and in the North, they were modeled after American colonial armies who kept order in the colonies. In the South, they were modeled after slave brigades, which would round up escaped slaves. So if we want to understand something as simple as why the police pull over a young black man at a higher rate, there's a long history to what's embedded in that institution of the police, for example, something we'll study a little later in the course. Another issue that may be on all of our minds right now, though this slide I actually had in here before the pandemic, choosing not to vaccinate. We can look at the personal and the social, the objective and the subjective. How does this become a social problem? Right? What are the social dimensions? Is it just a personal preference? Looking objectively at the problem, we can look at the issue of herd immunity, which means that enough people have the vaccine in their bodies that a virus can't spread among them. And this is needed to target people who, for example, cannot get vaccinated. We can also look at this from a more subjective or from the people's perspective themselves, thinking about how does this become an issue? When did this become a problem in society? When did we start problematizing science? This is tied in a lot with things like social media and giving large platforms to people with wacky ideas. Actually, vaccines are very, very safe. Even the COVID vaccine, people don't trust it, but the process of developing it was actually quite rigorous and safe as well. But this is a major problem. If enough people don't become vaccinated, the virus won't go away. So why do we bother doing this stuff? Why bother studying social problems? Well, Marx famously said, philosophers have only interpreted the world in various ways. The point is to change it. Marx is one of the fathers of sociology, though interestingly we didn't really think so until about 40 years ago. We do this because we want to understand the problems in our society. In order to solve them, we need to know where the issue is. So it's important to gain knowledge of the world, which is ultimately what social sciences are doing, is trying to create knowledge. Right? So when we look at social problems, we're not just trying to be depressing or sad. We are trying to really grasp where does inequality and hiring happen? Can we pinpoint it? Does that let us change it? Where is the moment of bias in the criminal justice system that leads to more black men being arrested? There's actually a number of moments in there. So understanding the nature of the problem and studying it scientifically gives us the ability to try to put it in the proper context, understand, why do Latinos drop out at higher rates? It lets us understand that it's nothing to do with being Latino necessarily. It has to do with the whole structure around people who choose to drop out. So it also lets us inform policy and activism, understanding what we call praxis, the intertwining of knowledge and action. Right? The goal here is ultimately to make a difference in the world. And to do that, we try to understand it as best as we possibly can. So what about this course? This is a fully online course and asynchronous. That means that we're not meeting together in person, and we will be having a compressed course as well, meaning that we're going to complete 16 weeks worth of materials within 8 weeks. So how do we want to succeed in this class? One, you really want to make sure you're keeping up with the material for each week, doing the reading. Do the reading. This is desperately important. You will have too much coming at you to not do the reading. Right? So what do we do each week? Well, this is where the syllabus is most important. The syllabus has all of our assignments, every reading for each week, every supplemental activity, each discussion board topic, and which module we're doing it on. See, modules are the units within the weeks. So read your syllabus all the way through, no question, and then read it every week at least once, right? Remind yourself of what are we doing in class this week? What's our topic? Again, we're doing 2 weeks worth of material within 1 week, so try to keep on top of this. Your textbook can be accessed through the textbook information link. This will take you to a VitalSource homepage, which will let you read your electronic textbook. You can download a VitalSource app for your phone or tablet if you prefer that, but you must access it through the Blackboard site first. Once you log into the app with your Paine email, after accessing it on Blackboard, it will show up there. I use the app on my iPad because I'm privileged enough to have one. And I find it very useful, but you have to access it through the website first. So the textbook information link is your destination. Classroom Chatter. This is going to be our texting app. GroupMe. You're probably familiar with it. Clicking the GroupMe Chatter link will essentially enroll you in the group chat. I know many students have a group chat outside of class. This one will be with me on it. You can also privately message me on here. So this is where we want to chat about issues, assignments. If you want to chat with me separately, then we can set up a meeting. But you have to message me on GroupMe. I check my phone a lot and my alerts will pop up there. So this is usually the quickest way, in addition to emailing me, that you can grab hold of me. So make sure at some point in this first week that you log into the GroupMe and put yourself on there, because I'll also post some changes, reminders, notifications to the group as well. So really use that app. All right. Now let's look at the main discussion board, which is going to be through the free software Flipgrid. Once you go to, these will be within each week, but you can also log into the home page, and this is what that first each weekly topic will look like. You'll see that red record a response button at the bottom. That's where you go to record your video. And so our discussions in this class are going to be little discussion videos. If you really don't want to record your face, you can, not point it at your face, but obviously I will. So for one thing, how do you pronounce your name? And let us know one thing we should know about you in this course and maybe why you took it. Flipgrid is free. You have to log in with your @paine.edu email. Your student ID will not work. But it is free, and you can also get the app on your phone or tablet or whichever you prefer. You can also log into the website. Once you do, you will see a screen like this with a little circle at the bottom to record. And that is how you will record your weekly discussions. Again, the discussion topic you can link to from each weekly module. Right? So when you log into your weekly module for week 1, for example, you will have at the top an outline. Then you'll have a folder for our lecture videos, discussion link, and supplementary readings or videos. Each week you will have homework as well. Well, not every week. This is where you'll have papers and such posted, as well as where you go to turn them in. You'll note this first week we have 2 semester-long projects that are due kind of towards the end. They are both posted there. That doesn't mean that you have to turn them in there. That's where you'll find the instructions. If you go into the lecture discussion supplemental, you will see something like this, a folder that will link you to YouTube videos with discussion. Supplemental there is the reading by Ray and Rostow on fraternity men's attitudes towards women, really interesting little study. That will be a supplement to the weekly reading as kind of an example this time of sociological research methods. And then you'll see there the discussion post of what makes a problem social. Here you would click Join with Microsoft and use your paine.edu email. And that's it. That's how we're going to roll through each week. Join the GroupMe, go over to week 1, start familiarizing yourself with the book, and we're going to get rolling with research methods and studying social problems.